It's a new week. Hello and thanks for joining us on the Monday edition of Journalist Hangouts. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, we begin our series on the unending killings in Southern Kaduna to deepen discussion on how to end the intractable crisis and bring the lasting peace to the area. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otutoju, while two guests from the warring communities in Kaduna State will join us via Skype. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us once again. The crisis in Southern Kaduna has defied solution and logic. Over the years, the area has continued to witness wanton killings over factors that have assaulted human sensibilities. But peace begins with dialogue, so those concerned should never shy away from having roundtable discussions. On today's episode of the program, we'll bring the issue on the spotlight, and two gentlemen from both sides of the crisis will be our guests. First of all, we have Dr. Zuahu Bonat, who is an indigenous Christian from Southern Kaduna. Dr. Bonat is the chairman of the Southern Kaduna Autochthons Community Development Association Forum. Welcome, Doctor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. My second guest is Alhaji Sanusi Mekudi, a Hausa Fulani from Jama Emirate in Southern Kaduna. Is also the spokesperson of the Hausa Fulani community in the Southern Kaduna community. Now, my first question goes to Alhaji Sanusi. Why is there so much bloodletting in Southern Kaduna?
Thank you very much. I think there are so many reasons for the bloodletting in Southern Kaduna. And in my own view, as one of the persons that is directly affected by it, there are many reasons. Some are historical, some are political, some are economic, and you can go on and on. In my previous encounter, I included issues like failure of leadership, refusal to accept diversity, and the major issue is the philosophical disposition of the dominant groups in Southern Kaduna that regard themselves as indigenes and therefore go ahead to give themselves rights and privileges that are extra-constitutional, that are not known in any universal law, and they use it to discriminate against people that they call settlers. And they brutalize them because of their numerical strength. They extrajudicially kill, maim, destroy, displace for the past 40 years, and so far, negligible number have been brought to justice. These are some of the reasons, in my understanding.
Now I will go to Dr. Bonat. Now, Dr. Bonat, I will ask the same question. What's the bone of contention in Southern Kaduna?
Why do we have these killings?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know whether there is a bone of contention in Southern Kaduna. The Southern Kaduna people since 2010, but specifically from 2011, late 2011, they have been subjected to very vicious attacks. Thousands of our people have been killed. They used to say it was unknown gunmen. Then some of them began to be caught, and it turned out that some of them are of Fulani extraction. Some of them were actually caught, but they were released. So we began to understand the whole thing. And then later on, we were told officially that these were people that were coming from outside Southern Kaduna
and that indeed some amount of money was set aside to placate them and to beg them to stop attacking Southern Kaduna. And so we want to state categorically that we are not in contention with anybody, because anybody that has lived with us for the number of years that some of them have lived with us, we have accepted them. We are very accommodating. It is when they come and they sit and they live in enclaves, they don't mix with anybody, but we've never attacked any of our neighbors or any of our people, of the people that have lived with us. They started attacking us from outside. But later on, we began to understand that there were some elements that were local elements. Now, as to the reasons, I don't know whether we can understand the reasons, but our own understanding is getting better, because each time there are attacks on our people, they will say that they have come for revenge. Revenge against what? We don't know. That is one of the reasons given for attacks on Southern Kaduna. The other one is when we began to engage some of them in discussions, including Jama Federation Association. Sometimes they will tell us they want land and they are taking claims to land. And we'll ask them, which land are you taking claims to? Beyond the places where you are already living. Nobody has discriminated against them. The Southern Kaduna people have not taken any fight to anybody. It is our people that have been killed. And so the people that have been killing us should be asked why it is that they are killing us. Because recently, what they have been adding is that they will tell us that if we want these killings to stop, they should be given Emirates. Every single release they have made recently includes creation of Emirates for Hausa Fulani in Southern Kaduna. Not only that, they have included some very voodoo statistics saying that there are 40% of the population of Southern Kaduna. We don't know where they're manufacturing that from, since there is no such official record in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But they have been shouting about it, and that therefore they are entitled to ABCD. We have been very free with the use of phrases in order to justify. Because if you say that the violence is taking place because somebody is calling you a settler,
Dr. Bonat, I have to cut you off there. Dr. Bonat, okay. I have to cut you off there. We have allotted time for everybody to speak.
Let's get to Alhaji Maikudi now. Alhaji Maikudi, what does it mean to come from Southern Kaduna? Does it simply mean being Christian, being non-Hausa? Why do we have these issues between ethnic groups and so-called minority settlers? What does it mean?
Thank you very much. You see, I am happy I am discussing with Dr. Zoapo Bonat. He's my very good friend, but we have not seen for some times. But he is the chief ideologue of hatred in Southern Kaduna. He is the brain behind.
I want you to moderate. Let's try and moderate our language.
Sorry,
let's talk issues here, Alhaji.
You need to understand. You need to understand. You cannot solve a problem you don't understand. But what it means to be a Southern Kaduna, we are supposed to be human.
Yes.
The world is created by God, and there are enough resources to go around for every reasonable person if you are not greedy. For the record, the House of Fulani Muslims in Southern Kaduna, we are not asking for anything special. We are not asking for any right that is extra-constitutional. What we are saying is that what is going on in Southern Kaduna there are things that need to be done. Number one, establish the truth. Establish the truth. Who is attacking who? My friend just said that they are peaceful. I want to ask him, there used to be a Muslim village in Zangon Katab Chiefdom called Matsirga, who obliterated it from the face of the earth. What happened in 1992 in Zangon Katab? What happened in 1981 in Kasua Magani? Is he oblivious of those realities? When we talk on camera as responsible people, we are supposed to bring the facts, place them on the table, let people understand, and let honest stockbrokers that are interested in brokering peace, broker peace. When we say we want to be self-reliant, we want to be autonomous, we learn it from our brothers, the Southern Kaduna people. They used to be under traditional institutions, which they described was aligned to them, and they asked for independence, and they were given. We are also human beings, and we say we have the right to be autonomous, to rule ourselves based on our own cultures and our own religion. And this is what you say we are. What is special in that? They started the process. As human beings, we are all equal. But I want to place it on record that Dr. Zohaku, my friend, is aware that before the arrival of colonialism, there was a vibrant planning community that created the Jama Emirate in 1810, and even further than Southern Kaduna, even in Nasarawa, in Kepi, there are emirates more southern than Southern Kaduna. And 100 years, for a whole century, we had our traditional institutions. When colonialists came in 1903, our institution was already over a century years old. And at the same point, just because you are more numerous in number, you are more violent by disposition, you think you can kill people and go free, and then you go and do propaganda and turn the victims into the valiants and the valiants into the victims. I want to give you a personal illustration. I'm not addressing the issue of this conflict as an activist or a pedestrian stakeholder. No, I lost family members. My grandfather, the father of my mother, at the age of 85, the junior brother of my grandmother was also burned, their children, and my cousins. I lost 14 family members in Matsirga in 2011. And who killed them? Were they killed by their loved ones or by some attackers? So when we want to address the issue of peace in Southern Kaduna, we need to look at it from an objective, honest, unbiased perspective, so that we'll be able to articulate the issues, come up with solutions that we will be able to manage, stop this bloodletting and massacre.
That is why we are here. That is why we are here.
Humanity cannot be divided along tribal or religious lines.
That is why we are here, Alhaji
Mekudi.
Mekudi.
Thank you.
That is why we are here, and we want to ensure that peace is achieved in Southern Kaduna. Peace was achieved in Mambila, so it is possible to achieve it in Southern Kaduna. We want the bloodlettings to stop. That is why we are doing this, because we believe that at the end of the day, peace can be achieved. But I want to take the question, the same question to Dr. Bonat. Because the question is, what does it mean to come from Southern Kaduna? And why do we keep having these issues between a minority and the so-called settlers, just in a very dispassionate manner?
Well, thank you, Jide. I think that is your voice.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I want to state categorically that Southern Kaduna people have been peaceful people. They are not of violent disposition. Secondly, I know there has been violence in Southern Kaduna. If somebody is Alhaji Mekudi telling us that the attack and the killings in Zipak on the 24th of July, the result of killings in Masirga in 2011? Is he telling us that all the attacks and the killings of the Atakar people who have been driven out of their villages, massacred and driven off, is it because of the killings in Masirga in 2011? The killings in Atiap, the killings in Baju, the killings in Adara, the killings in Chukun, the Baji people, the killings of the Chawe people, the killings of the Morwa and the Sangha people, the killings in Godogodo, are they because, did they happen because the people in Masirga were killed in 2011? Now, if that is the explanation for the killings, when will they stop? When will the revenge for the killings in Masirga stop? What does it mean to come from Southern Kaduna? I want to tell you this. Our people have struggled and died in prison. Our people have struggled against discrimination. Our people have struggled against political exclusion. Our people have struggled against economic exploitation for more than 200 years. People in Southern Kaduna have struggled against enslavement. We didn't go out to enslave anybody. We didn't go out to conquer anybody. We didn't go out to impose ourselves on anybody politically. But using the power of the state, using the power of colonialism, they imposed themselves, in fact, it was the British that imposed Hausa Fulani rule on Southern Kaduna people. Since then, if you look at the statistics, in the native administration, even the clerks were Hausa people. Not to talk of any other of the judges, not to talk of the people that were in charge of the markets, not to talk of the people that were in charge of making policy. Southern Kaduna people have had to struggle for every inch of liberty they have gained. Southern Kaduna people did not have to kill anybody to be able to get where they got. People in Southern Kaduna, we want to make it categorically clear that what happened in 2011 was very, very unfortunate. But it didn't start in Southern Kaduna because they have been telling the world that we planned it. This thing started in Kano, in Katsina, in Zaria. It came to Kaduna before it came to Southern Kaduna. But they give the impression as if it was Southern Kaduna people that planned the 2011. What does it mean to be from Southern Kaduna? It means that somebody discriminates against us on the basis of religion. Today, less than 20% of the political appointments in Kaduna are from Southern Kaduna. They tell us that the population of Southern Kaduna is less than 30% of the entire population of the state. And when they are defining Southern Kaduna, they only define the Kaduna South Senatorial District. They don't include Kajuru. They don't include Chukun. They don't include Lere, and so on.
Dr.
Now,
Bonat.
this divide and rule.
Dr.
Yes,
Bonat, let's go back to what happened in 2011. The Human Rights Watch, put it on record that about 500 Muslims were killed, that the majority of those killed during the riots of 2011 were Muslims, and that majority of them were killed in Southern Kaduna. What do you have to say on these statistics as released by the Human Rights Watch? Because it reinforces the feeling of your neighbors that they were big victims of that carnage.
Now, my response to that is this. Maybe they forgot that so many people were killed in Kaduna, and most of them were Southern Kaduna people. Maybe they forgot that quite a number of people were killed in Zaria, and they were Southern Kaduna people. that people were killed in Ikara, and they were Southern Kaduna people.
In 2011?
Maybe they forgot. And yes, I am telling you the truth, that they have the statistics as well. The police presented the statistics at a meeting in Kaduna, and some of us were there. Now, I don't want to justify what happened in 2011. Far from it. I am not in this discussion to justify what happened in 2011, because I've already said what happened in 2011 was very regrettable and unfortunate. But if we want to get stuck in 2011 and use this as the basis, as the excuse, as the rationalization, as the explanation for the violence and the killings against the Southern Kaduna people, if we want to get stuck there, then it means that we are confining our narrative and boxing ourselves into a small box, and will not be able to get from out of that box to be able to address
we'll take it from there.
Is it.
Thank you, Dr. Bernard.
Yeah.
Alhaji Mekuri Sanusi. Now, going down memory lane, it would seem every governor, including the late Patrick Yakowa and former Governor Ramla Yero, found it difficult to address this problem. Yakowa was blocked in Zonkwa, accused of not securing the Southern Kaduna people. Why is the crisis so pronounced under the current administration of Nasir El-Rufai? Dr. Sanusi, Alhaji Sanusi. Are you there, Alhaji Sanusi?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You see, this is a very important question, but allow me to shed a little light before I give you an answer. This year, 2020, 11th of June, in Atiap Chibdom, close to 100 Fulanis were killed, and they are displaced. These are people that have been living there for several decades, minding their business. They are not part of the local economy. They are not part of any political process. These are people living on the margin of the society. Who killed them? The secretary to the district head of Dangoma came to Kapanchang to do a shopping. On his way back, he was killed extrajudicially. So the Southern Kaduna, if I may put it, it has become a conclave of death, destruction, and massacre. And we, the minority, unfortunately, are the victims. But because we don't have the privilege and the luxury of having global supporters, sound intellectuals, unfettered media access, the narrative has been tilted in favor of the aggressors, which is unfortunate. Not even 2011, as far back as 1980, 1992, when the Emir of Jama'ah, who has have a throne since 1810, was about after the death of the former Emir, when the new one is going to be installed, there was a so-called demonstration by the so-called indigenous people of Southern Kaduna. As a result of that, 111 people were killed. People who come to celebrate. And all these things have been documented. Rightly, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, a lot of local NGOs, these things are record. It's indisputable. This is what we need to understand. And coming to why it is very difficult to resolve the matter is because some people are profiting from it. A typical Southern Kaduna elite, he believes that he has a sense of entitlement in Nigerian politics, that Kaduna State must produce a deputy. Whether he's ready or he's not ready, whether he has political value or he doesn't, he anoints himself and positions himself to be picked. And they put their eggs in one basket in 2015, when the mood of the nation was due for change. They remained loyal to PDP. They put their eggs in one basket and they lost out. They lost out. They were not strategic. Southwest was strategic. They put their eggs APC, PDP. Other parts of the country were strategic and they lost out. The cry is now louder because Professor Jega, as the INEC chairman, introduced card reader that show Kaduna State has 2,300,000 voters. Southern Kaduna had 930,000, out of which we are about 40%. Because of that one, some people are benefiting from it. They are playing politics. They have benefited before and they are still benefiting now. What the current government did to ameliorate the situation, a peace commission was established with the help of humanitarian dialogue. Humanitarian dialogue is being chaired by Professor Alice Inderetu, based in Kenya. They did a lot of work after the post-election violence in Kenya. They came to Jos and they did a beautiful work. When they did that work, they were invited to Kaduna State. They came and worked and they did the Kapanchan Declaration. A billboard was erected to celebrate the achievement of signing the Kapanchan Declaration. It is the same people that went and pulled it down. When the governor of Kaduna State
I'll direct the same question. Thank you. Thank you. Alhaji Sanusi Mekudi, thank you.
The foundation laid was destroyed.
I'll go to Dr. Bonat now. I'll direct the same question. Why is the crisis so pronounced under this current administration of Nasir El-Rufai?
Can I answer you?
Please do.
You see, people make very, very outrageous claims that they have not been able to substantiate. All these things about how 100 Fulanis killed on 11 June in Achap is false. Because the soldiers were there, the police were there, they were all there, the security forces were there. They have not given us any report that anybody was killed. In fact, that number of people were killed. In fact, the chiefdom of Achap, they were asked to give reports of who were killed. And I can tell you, I've been privileged to see one of these reports that says 5 Fulanis were killed. But they came up, some of them were saying 160 Fulanis were killed. Some are saying 100 Fulanis were killed, but they cannot prove it. We have asked them to prove it, they cannot prove it. Not only that.
Let me just halt you there. I have to pay these bills. Let me halt you. We'll come back after this break. We'll come back to you and you finish your explanation. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. Please stay with us. Don't go away. Thank you for joining us. This is Journalist Hangout. We're having a special one on the crisis in the Kaduna State, that's Southern Kaduna, and I've been talking with the two prominent indigenous. That's Dr. Zokua Bonat. Dr. Zokua Bonat is the president of the chairman of the Southern Kaduna Autonomous Community Development, and the other guest I have in studio, Alhaji Sanusi Mekudi, is an indigenous Hausa Fulani from Jama Emirate in Southern Kaduna. Let me go back to Dr. Bonat. Now, before we went on that break, Dr. Bonat, I asked you why we've had Zamalan Yero administration, we have Patrick Yekua administration, and we've also had their own challenges. But I'm asking, at this particular time, why is the crisis so pronounced under the administration of current Governor Nasir El-Rufai? We have limited time so that you go to the question.
Yes, I can answer that now. We are entitled as a people. Everybody in Nigeria is entitled to be defended and protected. We have found that all these groups have attacked. For instance, over the last 5 years, in fact, since 2017, there have been 200 attacks on the Adara people. 200, we've counted them, up to, in fact, 23rd of July this year. We've not included the ones that happened after July, 23rd July this year. Each time, whenever we have information on impending attacks, the security are informed. They don't go until after the attack. On the 24th in the park, I just want to demonstrate that. At 4 o'clock, the security were informed that they have received information that a group of gunmen was on its way through to Fonswam Chiefdom. The police did not go there. The attack came at 6 o'clock and continued until 9 o'clock. The security people were not there. The army went there at 10 o'clock. This has been the recurring decimal in Southern Kaduna over the last 5 years.
But defaults for this.
There have also been attempts, I'm coming, sir. There have also been attempts to justify these attacks, that they are revenge attacks. And so the people that have been coming to attack the Southern Kaduna, even people occupying official position, have said that these are revenge attacks. That is a tacit approval or rationalization of these attacks. Our people have been abandoned to the attacks by the various terrorist groups.
But it's the government, the state government is not in charge of security.
The state government has abandoned the people of Southern Kaduna.
Okay, I have...
The federal government has sent the army. But even when the army is there, like in the case of Kofanchan, they will still go and strike at soft targets. And the army will not get there until after the attacks are finished.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bonat. I have Dr. Saleh Ibrahim on the phone now. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, my brother. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Can you please shed more light on this crisis?
It is most unfortunate that the specter of killings and counter-killings since 2011 has continued in Southern Kaduna. People have lost their senses. So many lives are being lost, and all on the whims of the crisis of elite. Instead of people to rationally look at issues and provide solutions, people are simply stoking emotions and instigating their own kinsmen to kill others. Essentially, what I believe is that it is a manifestation of failure of governance. All this while, it is essentially failure of governance. I expect that by now, some people would have been in jail. By now, some people would have been sentenced to death for this carnage. But up till this time, individuals, elites, essentially elites, are allowed to unguardedly instigate individuals to kill. I think there should be no space for killings in this country anymore. So what I'm saying in essence is that, please, the security agencies, the government should rise to the occasion. I don't blame these individuals that are shouting and stoking emotion all over the place. It is the government that should act. There are reports, there are evidences. So arrest and let us see you act on this matter. You shouldn't allow emotions all over and people are being killed. If somebody is driving through that area innocently, he will be killed. Individuals that innocently looking for their livelihood are being killed.
Yes. So
the responsibility of government to ensure the protection of lives and property. And whatever the government will do to do that, it is its own responsibility. So what I'm saying essentially is that all this noise, all these feelings are manifestation of failure of governance. Just like what we have on the issue of election. You conduct elections, you arrest people red-handed, rigging elections, and you don't see anybody prosecuted. So that is the same thing that is happening in Southern Kaduna. Enough is enough.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yes.
Thank you for your contribution, Dr. Saleh Ibrahim. Thank you for that contribution.
He's blaming the elite,
yes,
and he's saying that it's
government,
about time that
failure
we
part of
to
government
deal decisively with people.
That there are reports.
When people get arrested,
yes,
they must be prosecuted.
It has happened in the past, and there have been committees, there have been reports to government that are somewhere gathering dust.
Yes.
Government should open those books and implement.
So we need to ask
reports.
We need to ask Alhaji Sanusi now. Alhaji Sanusi, what is your reaction to what Dr. Saleh Ibrahim has said? Is it really that a lack of prosecution of offenders that is worsening the situation that we have, the promoters of violence?
That is the issue. That's central to it, because all the crises, you know, some people want to be selective in their memory and in their disposition. It's not possible to build insanity overnight. The crisis for the last 40 years have created victims upon victims. And unfortunately, one of the things that many people don't know, because they have not witnessed it, and they have not been lucky to get an honest account from an objective commentator, is that even people on transit, Southern Kaduna is crisscrossed by major national highways. If you are coming from southeast to the northeast or Jos, you must pass through Southern Kaduna. If you are coming from any part of south-south, before you come to Kaduna, you must pass, or Kano, you must pass through Southern Kaduna. People on transit, just on account of how they look, their tribe or their religion, are intercepted on the way, killed, their vehicle burned to ashes, and the ashes destroyed to destroy evidence. And some people will sit down and celebrate the youth, and they say the youth are in charge of the society. This is very unfortunate. Every single crisis was investigated thoroughly, followed with a white paper, a report of Judicial Commission of Inquiry, white paper indicting people that did what, and the recommended punishment, and the steps to be taken. But when the people are arrested to be punished, their communities will mobilize ethnic sentiment, religious coloration, win local and international solidarity. That is why people, instead of them to come home, go to where the incident, the root cause of the problem, they prepare to go to do rally in the Unity Fountain in Abuja. They prepare to go to the office of United States of America, because they are doing propaganda. Somebody who lost his loved ones, who lost his family members, who lost his asset, his means of livelihood, will have no time to sew uniform, do banner, do plaques, get drummers, and say they are protesting injustice. These are opportunists, so-called activists that have no stake whatsoever, and they have been won over through propaganda, falsehood, outright falsehood. The major issue is leadership failure, as I have said,
Yes.
at the very local level. Like my friend that we are now discussing with him, ask him, he wrote about internal colonialism, the presence of other tribes in Southern Kaduna who don't share his tribe or his religion. As far as he's concerned, that is internal colonialism, not national integration. But it is like going to Lagos and for the Lagosians to wake up and say they don't want anybody from any other part of the country, even from the southwest. This is ridiculous. It is an ideology of primordialism. They say they are autonomous to the people, and they keep exploiting, harassing, killing, displacing, and making life unbearable to others that do not belong to their own identities.
Alhaji Sanusi, we want to go to
that we must need to address.
Yes.
When Kaduna State government said residents matter, regardless of where you come, if you are living and working in Kaduna, you have right. The Sokabo people, the Southern Kaduna people protested that they don't want equality for all citizens. They want the indigenous to have special rights.
Alhaji Sanusi, let me take the same question to Dr. Bonat. Dr. Saleh Ibrahim grew up in Kavanchan, but he's actually a native of Sokoto State. He has said that this problem has been worsened by our refusal to punish offenders, punish people arrested as promoters of this violence. What is your response to Dr. Saleh Ibrahim's conclusion?
First of all, we have to identify who the victims really are. There have been victims on both sides.
Okay.
Nobody can tell me that 985 people that have been killed, maimed in Adara land are not victims. Nobody can tell me that 1,300 and something people that have been killed in their villages, in their sleep, in their houses, in their churches since 2010 are not victims. And all of these people are Southern Kaduna people. What we want, who are the victims and who are the perpetrators? Because somebody sets up a commission of inquiry, we go there and testify. They write their report. They make recommendations. What are these reports that they are busy harping upon? Most of these reports have had white papers written on them. Even some of them that have had no obvious white paper, like the Kujo Commission, almost every recommendation on that Kujo Commission was implemented. People were jailed. People were sent to prison. People served prison time. But people are now saying, okay, to serve as punishment, let's go back to 1992. Let's go and kill those leaders as to serve as a deterrent. Now, is that a solution to something that is happening in 2020? What happened in 1992? They are now, it is now being linked up. Tommy, please, you give me my chance to make my case. Give me a chance to make my case. What I'm saying is that people have been killed, but we want to get out of the cycle of violence. Now, what does it take to get out of the cycle of violence?
Yes.
Is it discrimination against a whole section of a community, of a state that will solve the problem? Is it saying, look, let's kill a few people, let's imprison some people, and everybody will go and lie down? What of the underlying factors? What of all the things that people have been talking? Somebody says that because we voted for PDP in Southern Kaduna, and for your information, more than 30% of the votes that El-Rufai scored in 2015 came from Southern Kaduna. But more importantly, does the Constitution say you discriminate against people because they didn't vote for you? Did Buhari do that? Was it everybody in Nigeria that voted for Buhari? No. But is he showing the kind of open discrimination that we are seeing here in Kaduna State? So unless we are ready to sit down and address the underlying factors very seriously, we're going to have problems. Now, 1, 2, why do people demonstrate? In other climes, when people demonstrate, investigations
I have to allow Alhaji Sanusi to for his intervention now.
Well, let me make
Alhaji
my point,
Sanusi, just please hold on. We are giving you we've given you enough time. Alhaji Sanusi Mekudi, what we're saying now, do you think government has done enough to achieve peace, and how really can we achieve peace in Southern Kaduna as we're reaching home stretch?
Let's focus on solutions now.
Thank you very much. I think
Let's focus on solutions.
All right, go ahead.
thank you very much. You see, as far as I'm concerned, the problem of Southern Kaduna is very easy to solve.
Wow.
The unfortunate violence that is taking place have its root that was planted, a root of hatred, seed of violence, seed of arrogance were planted, and they have germinated. They have now become giant Iroko trees. For us to uproot them, we have to be serious with what we are doing. And as far as I'm concerned, the problems are very easy to solve. Those who are making political and economic capital out of the crisis, objective, patriotic leadership need to emerge. Because if I'm a politician and I am in power, and after power, I go and wear another robe and say I'm champion of my people. I am pursuing my political agenda under the platform of ethnic and religious platforms. It's not going to help matters. The major solution to the Southern Kaduna problem is acceptance of one humanity.
Yes.
We must recognize that regardless of our ethnicity, regardless of our religious persuasion, we are descendants of Adam and Eve, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, that whoever commits a wrong act, whether Muslim, whether Fulani or Hausa, whether Atiap, whether Sholio, whether Takat or Baju, whether Ham or anybody, must face the rule of law. If so-called activists that have the time and luxury to sew uniform and wear them in the name of struggle want to stop the court of justice and pervert it, that is what is promoting the self-help. When you do things day after day, decade after decade, for centuries, there are no repercussions. You create the necessary environment for the triumph of evil. So the justice must take its course, no matter how big the criminal or the violator of law is. He must face the consequences of his action, and then that will serve as a deterrent to others. And the government and the international community must show interest in Southern Kaduna. Because what is happening is that Southern Kaduna has been reduced into a conclave of death. Some of the sponsors of the death and the killing are now champions of the protest against the killing.
Thank you.
By night.
Thank you, Alhaji Sanusi Mekudi. Let's now go to Dr. Bonat. Dr. Bonat, your own solution to this crisis?
Let's focus on solutions now. How do we achieve peace?
Are you there, Dr. Bonat? Hello?
Yes. Okay. How do we achieve peace?
The first step today is to stop the attacks. Let the attacks be stopped. Let the attacks on the communities of Southern Kaduna be stopped.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Okay.
The second one is, let's identify those who are actually attacking the people of Southern Kaduna. We are saying that we have been under the siege of terrorist organizations and groups. We didn't append religion to them. They have devastated our land. They have attacked our people. They have attacked everybody. They have made us suspicious of each other. They have made us into enemies that are not enemies. And these people come from where? They have information about who these people are. Why is it that they don't actually investigate the people that go and find out the people that go to any particular village to attack it? Why is it that it is the elites, because they speak, they are now the problem? When our people demonstrated in Governmental in 2016, what happened to them? Violence was visited upon them. In Governmental in 2016, our women were dehumanized. The third thing that has to be done, when the actual attackers are identified, they should be exposed and their identities should be made known. We want their identities made known. Those who come and hit in the night and disappear. Who are the people that give them backing? Who are the people that give them cover? Are they spirits that when they hit people, they disappear? We want to know who these people are. Fourthly, we should ensure, because we have lived with the Fulanis for hundreds of years. Many of them are still around in our communities.
But you said they should go back to where they come from.
Jide, can you stop him from talking so that I can make my case?
I just announced. Let's hear him.
There is a record where he said the Fulani should go back to where they come from.
We are trying to achieve peace.
Those people that come from outside, they say they have taken money to give them. Those who took money to give those people, they should identify and tell us who those people are. We want to know who they are. We want discrimination against the people of Southern Kaduna to stop, because discrimination gives right to hurt,
Okay.
to disgruntlement,
To violence,
to complaints, and to feelings of we have been abandoned.
Dr.
We
Bonat, we have to leave it there.
Please, you asked me
Yes, and we've given you time. We've given you enough time.
We are running out of time.
We are running out of time.
Now,
we can't go over and over again.
One more point. One more point.
To make. One of the biggest issues we are grappling with in Southern Kaduna is drug, alcohol, and substance abuse.
Wow.
These issues are known all over. We should, as a state, as a community, as a government, set out to look into this very serious issue.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bonat.
There is unbounded poverty in Southern Kaduna.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bonat. Babajide, we could go on and on and
Yeah,
on.
and
But
that's
one thing
why
I've
we
noticed
said
is that this thing is like it's a deep-seated animosity between
mutual distrust and all that.
So it will take
But
a lot of effort.
I'm confident that ultimately we will find peace.
Yes.
The killings, as Dr. Bonat said, has to stop.
Yeah.
And the feeling that, oh, this one is a settler, is not one of us, as Alhaji Sanusi said, has to stop. They must see themselves as one people.
Yes.
When the people make up their minds to forgive one another, we will find peace.
Yes.
You know, and nobody will be able to come from outside to kill them. So we'll continue
If
this.
peace in just.
If we can achieve peace in Mambila, especially, then we can achieve peace in Kaduna, Southern Kaduna. That's our wish. And the discussion will continue tomorrow.
Yeah, Dr. Zuahu Bonath, I want to thank you. Is an indigenous Christian from Southern Kaduna. And I want to thank you, Alhaji Sanusi Mikuri, an indigenous Hausa Fulani from Jama Emirates in Southern Kaduna. Thank you for your intervention today. It's
Thank
been
you so much.
a good time.
We are grateful for the opportunity.
You give to us. It's something that we are personally committed to here in Journalist Hangout as a program to find lasting peace in Southern
and in our
Kaduna.
time, by God's grace, in our time, peace will be achieved in Southern Kaduna.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platform showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Zubakum, urging you to stay safe and bye for now. See you tomorrow.